Greetings and salutations, friend. I am Jeremy Tank. And if you are watching this, I am your brand guy. What does that mean? That means you've got someone in your corner and on your side as you are taking a journey, a transformation in your brand, your personal brand, your company brand, your product, your service, or just an idea that you've got that you're trying to develop and bring into the world. All of these start with you. They start with your vision of where you want to go and how you want to get there. That basically is like making a map, right? You make a map to treasure, you make a map to destinations you want to get to, and on a map you put all the things that are treacherous, all the things that could be a sidetrack, all the things that could really cause harm for you getting to your journey. And when I talk about creating a map for your brand, creating a vision for yourself, we call this brand strategy. Really strategizing how you show up in the world, whether that's your personal brand for you, your employer, your life in general, and your vision for it, or your company, if you're the CEO, if you're the owner, the business owner, or the president of your company. You know, you create a vision for that company, and when you're coming up with a brand strategy, it's the idea that you are influencing the world and you want your reputation to be good, right? You want your reputation to be good so that people talk about what you do, so that people share what you do, so that people refer you to others who need your particular service. All of this is brand strategy because it is strategizing. It is creating this map from where you are now to where you want to be in the future. And that's super important because without a map, without understanding where you're going, you don't know the right steps to take. And you know, of course, we're going to pretend like this is Jumanji. You know that ultimately you have to get across the entire board and get to the center of Jumanji so that you can call Jumanji and win. And along the way, there are going to be traps. There are going to be all sorts of crazy things that pop out of the works because that's life, right? Some of those we can predict. Some of those we can say, we're going to just avoid all of the conflict on working with this partner or this partner. We're going to concentrate on really the people who deliver, the people who are consistently delivering fantastic results and helping me on my path get to where I want to go. That's why brand and understanding your strategy in brand and the values that you bring to everything you do is important in the partnerships you make, the friends you make, the family that you choose in your life. And how you feel about yourself is really a reflection of, what do they say, the top 5 people that you're around? You are the sum of the top 5 people because these are the people that influence how you think with the words that they say and the things that they do. All of that influences you. The words that you hear, the words that you tell yourself, the pictures that you give yourself are just as important as the food you eat in maintaining your body, your mind, your goals, your consciousness. It's every bit as important. So I'm the guy that actually wraps all of this crazy stuff together with the idea of brand and says, where do you want to go? Because I want to help you get there. And most of what I understand has come from this history of graphic design and marketing and advertising and really creating images and words that reach out and touch people in a meaningful way. In a way that helps them accomplish their goals, in a way that helps take away the pain of their problems. Because that's what we do. We provide a service to the world. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you work for somebody else, your service is the job that you do. You are paid to provide your service, your talent, your expertise to your employer. As an employer, your job is to, what? Provide great products to your customers, provide service to your customers, but also to your employees because they create that path of excellence through your company with the customers. So that's this reciprocal cycle over and over again. And it's the same with your employee, employer. Really, you are providing a service to those around you. And you are super talented because you are the one chosen to provide the service. You have the talent. You have the expertise. You are amazing at what you do. And that's why you are doing it. And it's okay for you to have goals and dreams and ambitions beyond that. Absolutely. That gives you a path to walk. That gives you a vision to have and small steps to keep taking towards making life more fulfilling for yourself. Because life should feel fulfilling. It should feel exciting. It should feel fun. It should feel happy. If it's not, then we're doing something wrong. And it's time to figure out some of the things that are not making you happy. And that brings me around to the conversation I've been having all this week about the active experience. Because the active experience is really that instant moment. That's the now. That is here, now. Oh, that was then. Now it's now. Now, okay, now well, that was then now. And so now we need to focus on now before it becomes then. Which is the trick of the active experience, because by the time you experience something, meaning you taste it, touch it, smell it, hear it, feel it somewhere in your body, it's already translated through the sensation of this outer world beyond yourself, beyond your body, the outer physical world, or as we see it, a physical world. It's already moved past that, and it's into you, which means it's in your neurons, it's in your muscle tissue, it's moving up to your brain so you can translate and figure it out. It's beyond the limbic brain at that point, which is the base sensations that help translate something of what your body is trying to tell you about any given instant, about the world around and within yourself. It's already moved past that, and it's now in the neocortex, where you are actively thinking, okay, what's happening? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? There's the conscious and the unconscious part of this. And I'll show my diagram that I've been holding up all week. I love this little diagram. This Post-it note is your active experience from moment to moment. And I say moment to moment because a moment could be between seconds. It could be fractions of a second. Your brain pretty much can process super high frequency, anywhere from, let's even just say this. The eyes can translate an image, that's the reason you're seeing this, at about 30 frames a second. It can go as low as 15 or 10 and still see general motion in there. And when adrenaline hits and that fight or flight response hits, time seems to slow down, and scientists are actually discovering that the brain speeds up the processing. It's not that you're seeing any different, but the processing speeds up to 60, 120 frames per second about this scene, because in potential danger, the more input that you intake, the more you can make better decisions that keep you alive. That's the body's job. It wants to keep you alive, which brings us back to this. Active experience. Over here is the conscious experience. This is the memories, the thoughts, the ideas, the pieces of you that are very conscious of what you're doing. So if you were looking at me, you're seeing glasses, beard, shirt. That's very conscious. That is parts of you that are both left and right hemispheres of the brain coming together to identify something and say, this is what that is. This is that experience of it. And you are listening or watching this and you hear my voice. My voice is part of that active experience for you. And in that, if you're someone who watches me frequently, you go, oh, this is very familiar. It could be very calming. I hope it's very calming. It could be inspiring. It could be like, yes, I want to work with him. He's awesome. It's any of these sorts of thoughts that pop up in the head. The other side of this is the unconscious or other than conscious experience. And this is actually a little guy just drool falling out of his mouth because he's sleeping. He's other than conscious. And see, there are just as many parts, perhaps even more, that are other than conscious, that are active within the body. And of those, that can include the subconscious, which are the thoughts, the concepts, the programming that are built in through the traumatic responses, the training as you grow up. Those are held in the body in the frame of proteins, in the frame of little atoms and molecules that your body takes on that are just sort of transitional there. They stay there to keep your body moving forward. Kind of like a tree, always moves forward, even if it gets bent or knocked around. In fact, I keep using people as a reference to the tree, but really you are more like a bonsai. Once you learn some of these things, once you learn how the mind works, once you learn how the brain absorbs information and reprocesses it, then you can start taking that brain and shaping that bonsai tree exactly as you want it to be. Because you have that power. Once you understand some of the fundamental rules of this weird computer, this weird wetware computer that you have, that you are in, then you can actually start programming yourself. Because in the active experience, a lot of these unconscious or other than conscious parts of you are memories from fight or flight. They're memories from childhood. They're moments of great emotional depth and impact or physical pain that a piece of you, not necessarily the conscious piece, but a piece of you holds on to as a way to keep you safe, as a way to remember, as a way to influence your future decisions so that you stay alive. Because again, that's what the body wants. Some of it's more than that, because those other than conscious experiences can include certainly the gut microbiome. It can include influences on your magnetic field, which your heart puts out a ginormous electromagnetic field. Is much stronger even than the brain. And you have different points in your body that emit electromagnetic fields that influence each other and harmonize with each other. That would be Joe Dispenza's coherence. When your brain reaches a coherent state, generally in meditation or working out or some place of focus and quiet, the information flowing back and forth between the corpus callosum, which is the center part that joins your two hemispheres, more information flows back and forth as well as to the front and the back evenly. It suddenly is like a spider web going across your entire web, connecting everything, allowing huge opportunities for connection. And funny enough, what we're finding is that magic mushrooms and LSD in very small doses offer the same sorts of effects of connecting multiple, usually separate pieces of the brain together and really bringing, oh gosh, it's such an interesting study because okay, we're gonna have some Wi-Fi troubles today, I'm sorry. They're finding that people are feeling less depression after they connect areas of the brain, reactivate these areas of the brain so that they support each other. And all of this to say that the unconscious or other than conscious part of this active experience pops up in every given moment with the stuff that you recognize, with the stuff that you see, with the stuff that you feel, and your brain is limited in processing power. As frightening as that is to think about, it's limited about the things it can concentrate on, allow through, and focus on. Which is why focus becomes really important in life in general, because when you have not trained your mind to ignore or let some of these thoughts fly by, then you end up getting those voices in the head that tell you, you should be doing this. You really need to be doing this. Oh, they drive you to feel less than worthy. They drive you to feel less than enough. Because part of those mechanisms are in that active experience, moment to moment, trying to keep you alive, trying to keep you safe, but they don't understand that you are continually evolving. You are continually growing and changing and shifting with the world around you. You are constantly shaping the bonsai tree that you are, right? You're constantly pruning off pieces that you just don't really want to focus energy into anymore, and shaping leaves or shaping branches in order to reach this shape of you. Now, yesterday I said that a lot of the time in the other than conscious part of the active experience, these pieces hold pain. Pain is what keeps coming out through my mouth. Wow. Pain or painful memories. And that sometimes what we need to do is tell ourselves that we can accept that pain was there at one point in time. And a lot of these... Okay, back again. Wi-Fi. It's windy outside today here in Seattle, and whenever it's windy out, it seems to mess up the Wi-Fi connections, and I don't understand how those two things are connected, but you know what? That's this wild, wonderful universe that we're in. Things that do not seem connected are somehow connected. The synchronicity, as Carl Jung calls it, things... understand how things are connected, but things move in the background without us, behind us, moving to make stuff happen. So we just got to move with it sometimes. Accept that we don't have control and go with it. And that's actually kind of the sum up of that unconscious, what I was just saying before my Wi-Fi went out. The parts that make up the unconscious, the subconscious, the other than conscious, are things that are trained into us to be, to exist, to keep us safe, to keep us... One more time, okay. Every time I seem to get to that point of other than conscious, I lose Wi-Fi. So let's go ahead and skip to a different part of this talk and see if that changes the perception at all for some reason. What I'd like you to do is that the next time you feel anxious, fearful, afraid of something, bringing you pain or something bad happening, I want you to examine what that idea is. Like, hold it in your head. What are you actually afraid of? What does that look like? And I want you to sit in that idea, like actually own it, because this is a part of you that is bringing up all of that to keep you safe. These bad ideas, these whatever they are there to keep you safe, are there to keep you alive, are there to keep you on a certain path that something in your life has told you is the path that you need to be on. So what you need to do, as I said yesterday, become okay with it. How do you become okay with it? Let's dialogue with it. Like, what is it you believe is the outcome you're going to have? Is that the likely outcome? We know with quantum theory that one option is nothing. And the things that we're afraid of are usually one option out of the millions that are possible. We like to say there's an idea of realistic choices. I tend to think, I tend to think of things in a realistic fashion, so that's the outcome. And I see the outcome of the realistic fashion being really bad. But you don't control that. Kind of like my Wi-Fi. I don't control that. It is really just kind of doing its own thing right now. So the challenge is actually to release control of everything outside of yourself. Release that fear by asking yourself, what is it I'm actually afraid of? What are the chances of that actually happening? And then, because we love contrast, right? One of the functions of the brain, contrast, comparison. Now that we know what the worst case scenario is, the one that you seem to focus on, let's focus to the other side. What's the best case scenario? Out of the millions of options out there, as you dialogue with yourself, just ask yourself. Talk in your head to yourself. If not, talk out loud to yourself. Trust me, carry a plant if you're afraid of people looking at you funny. You can be talking to the plant. You can be talking to a cat. You can be talking to a dog. Talk to anything, but dialogue with these pieces of yourself. Find out, what are you actually afraid of? And then move, well, what's the best case scenario? Because you don't control the universe. But I tend to think that you can influence it. With the idea of looking at that bad that you were afraid of, that part of you is really, truly afraid of, and then anchoring on an idea, a vision, a goal that is the best case scenario. You create a tension. You create an energy, a flow. And I've talked about these before. There's the pendulum flow, there's the straight through flow, and there's which is creative flow, and then there's the stagnation, the lack of flow. Well, when you talk to your brain and try to figure out what it's actually afraid of, and then move into this point of things that are possible for the future, and you really step into both of them with your whole heart, imagine them. Like, what are you actually afraid of going on with whatever you're stepping forward to? And when you discover that, what you find is that you are actually working through the subconscious mind, working through the energy that's being put through all of these subatomic particles, through the wavelengths, through the frequencies, and you are releasing some of the pain, some of the anxiety, some of the trauma that created those thoughts. And when you create the idea of the better future, the one that you don't have to be afraid of, in fact, get rid of any word of realism at all. Realist doesn't exist. Your experience exists, and what happens to you exists. Real is a made-up concept of other people's limits on your life, your thinking, and when you choose to believe that things are real, that means that you've created a division between what's real and not real. It means that you have accepted somebody else's limits on your life. Is that what you want? I don't think so. You want to live to your full potential. You want to do things that are fun and lively and that you enjoy. A life that you enjoy is worthwhile, right? We talk about this. You are enough. You are worthwhile. You can accomplish anything you want. And the thing that keeps you back is this fear, this anxiety, sometimes this depression that pops up. Where is it coming from? Well, it's coming from these parts in the unconscious, other than conscious, active experience, because that's what's popping up to solve whatever problem, whatever concern, whatever thing is in front of you. All of these thoughts, all of these, everything are there to help you. So we say thanks. Thanks, I appreciate you popping up, right? Unconscious thoughts, I appreciate you popping up. I was a little anxious, I was a little afraid, so now let me go ahead and ask, why is that coming up right now? I'm afraid of being made fun of. I'm afraid of judgment. I'm afraid, this is me, I'm afraid of judgment. I am afraid of not being enough. I am afraid of all different things, right? We all are. It's okay. I'm afraid of growing up. I'm afraid of getting old. I'm afraid of not attaining the things that I want in life, out of life. So that's all the stuff I'm afraid of. But do you hear the language I'm using here? I am afraid of blank. Well, in the subconscious mind, the subconscious mind doesn't recognize positive or negative. Don't have this, have this. So when we name these things, when we concentrate on those things, in fact, the unconscious experience, the other than conscious experience as part of the active experience is literally telling yourself fear, rejection, anxiety, depression. It's literally anchoring on those. And the subconscious mind is saying, okay, reticular activating system, the things we're focusing on are bump, 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 which literally brings more of those into your life as you see them more. Which is why we need to reframe that slightly. And we reframe that by saying, understanding there is no real world. It's your experience of the real world. And if you are having your experience and you get to choose, which you do, when you say, I get to choose my experience, and here's the experience I want to have, and it looks like this, I am confident, I am sure. I get up in front of other people all the time. I speak easily. I speak eloquently. People value what I say. I am enough, I am worthy, and I stand in my truth. This is authentically me. That's powerful, right? And you can do this for yourself because you've already put these limits in because of the things you're afraid of, taking each step forward. You can do this for yourself because you are perfectly capable of going to the opposite of all the bad stuff you've always said. That bad stuff is there to protect you. It's not meant to hold you back. It's there to protect you. It's up to you to move forward from that. And by moving forward and saying, yes, this is the vision that I want, that vision, that's the one that actually gets the system going. Okay, that's actually what we want, the subconscious mind says. That's actually what we want, the other than conscious mind says. That's what we want, the reticular activating system says. And so your body altogether rewires the way that it is broadcasting frequency. It pumps out different proteins into the system that changes the way your cells react and changes the way that they adapt and manipulate the DNA to make you healthier, stronger, faster, brighter, better memory. All right, you remember everything. Everything in your life just seems to work out easily. Like everything you look at, like you see the bright side of things like that because it's right there for you. It's always right there for you. Computers work with no problem. Wi-Fi works easily every single time. When you create these sort of phrases for yourself and you tell them to your brain, it trains the brain that that's what you want to see. And when it trains your brain what you want to see, you're already creating connections out in the quantum field that start bringing more of that into your life. You train the reticular activating system within your brain to start recognizing those more. And you are creating quantum entanglements with yourself, your frequency, your vibration, your being, and the quantum field, bringing it to you. That's the law of attraction. That is Abraham Hicks' vortex. That's saying everything's out there. It's coming right to you. All you have to do is be open. Stop giving yourself such a hard time. Stop blocking yourself. Realize that you are safe. And the top three things that people tend to be stuck on are, I'm not enough, I can't, or it's unavailable to me, and I'm different. And it's kind of funny because this is stuff that comes up a lot when you're a kid. I moved around a lot when I was a kid. And it's mostly because my parents had jobs that made them move like across coasts and to different states. So we moved a lot. I always felt different. There were plenty of times I didn't feel things were available to me. I couldn't have things because we had to move, because we just sold things, because we got rid of the toys. And feeling like I'm not enough because there's so much of the other world out there. Like we all have these issues in us, and they're sort of nurtured and built in us from this young age because that's commonality. And then they train our brain to be a certain way, and society actually reinforces that through school, all the way through college, all the way through employment. It's rare that you find somebody that really wants you to be yourself and be the best of yourself and achieve everything you can. It's really rare to have somebody to say, I believe in you. All you need is one. And I believe in you. I absolutely believe in you. I believe in everything you are. I believe in everything you want to be. And I believe in everything you're going to become. because I know you are capable of anything, whatever it is you want to do. Even if it's just finding moments of happiness in your life, you are absolutely capable of doing that. When you look at your life and notice the things that are holding you back, that are keeping you down, that are keeping you quiet, that are keeping you safe, I'm not saying go quit your job. I mean, we're in a pandemic. It's weird times, right? I'm not saying do something crazy, but I'm saying confront those things about yourself, the things that pop up in your head, those ideas. There's a great meditation app called Headspace. I've tried it on my iPhone. It's on several different other platforms. I think it's also on Netflix right now. And the whole point of that is that ideas, concepts pop up in your head, and you should observe them, thank them, and then just let them float on by like clouds. Those are the active and other than active, those are all of the pieces in the active experience. Those are all of the ideas, all the unconscious feelings, all the snippets of songs, all the one-lines of movies. This is the stuff that pops up in my head. Stories, books that I've read. Whole chapters will run through my head at one time. And all of this stuff pops in because there's some piece of it that is important in this moment in time for me to remember or think about. But remember, it's not me making these decisions. The me that is you and me is sort of like energy, frequency, consciousness, quantum being. The me that is popping up with these ideas that are trying to provide them to my brain, to my mind, is really all of this. It's the physical body that wants to stay alive, that wants to prosper, that wants to survive and reproduce and do all this. It's such a the limbic brain sort of thing going on. And there's just, you as you are beautiful and perfect and wonderful. You are pure essence coming into this physical crazy body that was trained before you were ever born to start filtering out certain portions of experience. Filter out your true self so that you can fit in with your family. Filter out pieces of your true self so you can fit in with friends. Filter out pieces of your true self so that you can fit in at work and not cause any problems. And if we're lucky, really, if we're lucky, we get a couple points in life where we get to reflect on who we are. And we get some space to start walking our own path and making our own decisions, probably within the framework of everyone else's reality. And the great news is that this is your choice. And this is always your choice. You can completely ignore anything I say at any time. You don't have to listen to me. I give you that permission. And what happens in your life? Does anything change? Do you still feel stuck sometimes? But when we're working together, when you listen to me, I want to challenge those points of fear. I want for you to start having those dialogues with yourself so that you can free yourself. When you understand that those things are meant to keep you safe and that they're really, really basic, fleshy programming and that you are capable of so much more, then it's your choice of what to do in life. And really, that's the essence of free will, right? What is the choice part of free will? I've had a hard time with this in my life because I haven't really seen people out in the world doing the free will thing. Mostly it's, I gotta go to work, I gotta get a job, I gotta get, I'm supposed to get married, I'm supposed to have kids, and and then I have to save for retirement, and then the economy collapses, and everybody's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It's system-based. But you have a choice in this. And you can work within the system, you can work without the system, you can do whatever the hell you want, because that's your choice in life. And guess what? When we look at this from a duality perspective, right? Flesh versus quantum reality, particle versus wave, the choice is the spectrum between the two. It's where you want to lie. It's how you want to feel about yourself in the world. And the choices that you make are the choices for your experience. They're the choices driving you forward, the choices giving you the confidence and authority to live your life in a way that makes you happy, content, joyful. I finally understand my mom's old her website, her practice, her spiritual teachings were all under A Joy-Filled Life. And I finally think I understand why she chose that name. I didn't get it at the time. I haven't gotten it for years. And I finally think I understand it's that choice. You make the choice to live a joy-filled life. You make the choice in every given instant to listen to those voices and either accept that they're trying to help you and maybe their help is not necessarily needed, or to go about whatever you're doing. But the best news is that all of duality exists within a unity, and everything is energy. Everything is frequency. Everything is tied in somehow, which means that whatever you do, whatever choices you make in your life, whatever path you are walking, it's the right path for you. Because if it was going to be any other way, it probably would be any other way. So that's what I've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of this. If you are interested in working with me, I have a program called Manifest Design. It is a 8-step program that is all about finding your vision, your brand attributes, your values, your beliefs, your customer avatars. It's really about creating a whole vision and package for your brand as we want to transform it moving forward. And there's great reasons for brand transformation. I'll go into those in another video some other time. I've got a video on my website that really says the top 4 reasons you might want a brand transformation. And so you should visit my website, www.thinktankcreative.net. thinktankcreative.net. I've got a whole bunch of articles all about Manifest Design, all about the different aspects of the physical form, the mental form, everything that's really talking about Manifest Design and the deepness of it, the richness of it. And you know, if you have questions, go ahead and write them down in the comments whenever you get a chance to watch this video. I really appreciate it. Like, share, comment, do all the things. Tell your friends, because here's the deal. We all deserve to live a life of joy and happiness. And there's so much about how we have been brought up that's holding some of that back. It's time to release those floodgates. It's time, because you deserve it. I deserve it. We all deserve it. Thanks. Take care.